Once again, we're going to refer to this sheet. And in the last session, we talked about hitting complete defeat. This might be their bottom. Sometimes they call it the jumping off period. And this is different for everybody. You can't guilt and shame someone to get better. It just doesn't work. Perfection is a part of the addict's problem, and because they expect perfection from themselves, they're going to expect it from you as well. And when they get to this point, they're feeling great shame on their own, and it's just not going to motivate them because it's just going to make them want to stay stuck where they are. So as an example of the jumping off period, it's different for everybody. A person may just decide, I just can't do this anymore. My life is out of control. And in my dad's case, my dad, about 10 years before he passed away, the physical reaction that he had to using for so many years, found himself in the hospital. And his tongue had swollen so much that it cut off his ability to breathe, and it scared him. So after being in the hospital for a week, he never drank again. It was enough. It got his attention. It was his bottom. It was his jumping off point. And he just said, I can't do this anymore. He did never drink again, and he never did apply the principles that we're about to share that will help one improve the quality of their life. And that's a shame. That's what we call a dry drunk. Somebody that isn't drinking anymore, but still has all the same behaviors that they once had because they're not improving their quality of life and they're not engaging and connecting with other people. They haven't found something greater than themselves, a spirituality that's part of their program. When one first hits this, they probably do what we call the mercy prayer, which is, God help me. I don't know what else to do now. I don't understand what's happened, and I need your help. This is a cry for them to say, I am ready. I'm ready to put this down, and this is complete surrender. Complete surrender to the illness and an honest desire for help. They become sick and tired of being sick and tired. Once that occurs, and the actual abstinence occurs, after 10 days, once the drug or the alcohol is out of the body, then your body is pretty miraculous anyway. It starts healing right away, but this is the mark where things are going to start to get better. Physical recovery starts to begin now. You are replacing yourself with food, you're drinking more, you're eating, you might sleep a little bit better, but still not as great. You're breathing more, you're exercising more most likely, and the physical recovery creates the momentum in itself. Regular exercise is going to help you even more, and the more we do it, the thinking becomes clearer as well. In the same process, we start to learn that addiction is a disease, and they are going and learning more about that this isn't a question of weak character or the lack of willpower. It's a disease that affects us spiritually, physically, and emotionally. We'll talk about that in a moment as well. The next stage is positive thinking starts occurring. And this is incredible because once positive thinking comes back, then they'll start reacting more to other people, and they may start involving themselves into groups or finding like people, and they recognize that they're not alone and they're not unique. And this is a predictable pattern of behavior, and they start sharing and get honest. And honesty is what is necessary for this to occur. And as the honesty comes and they start admitting more of what's going on, then they start seeing that they're powerless over the drugs and alcohol, which is the first step of the 12-step program, that I admit my life has become unmanageable and I have a problem. So they start understanding more about the program, that there are no sets of conditions where they can drink anymore, and they have to surrender to that fight. When that occurs, then they start examining their spiritual needs more, and they start recognizing that there is something or someone or something that is helping them to restore them to clarity, and they want more of that. They are surrounded by people that they see are doing the same, and that brings hope for them. And as this happens, they've admitted that they're powerless. They have turn their life and will over to the care of God as they understand them. Then the fourth step is about making a personal inventory. So they start making an honest attempt of self-appraisal, and they start seeing these are the things that are working for me, and these are the things that are not. Kind of like what a business does when they do a business plan and they evaluate their strengths and weaknesses. So they start doing an inventory about what needs to change in their life. And some of that might include confessing to others how they've hurt them. And the program and the tools that we learn in the recovery process is they're taught to not go and tell somebody some behavior that they might have done to someone if they think it's going to hurt them, or reveal something that they don't even know. So they're not going to tell you, oh, I had an affair with your wife, and go up and tell your wife this problem. So as long as it's not hurting anybody else, you pray about it, you discuss it with a sponsor, and then you admit your wrongs. This thing also includes making amends to people. There are some people in your life, a lot of apologies, maybe possibly making restitution, start taking care of legal problems, asking for forgiveness and such from family members. And they may not be ready to hear this yet, which is also an important piece of this recovery process, that the family and friends also need to recover from this at all, because they're still full of resentment and bitterness and fear, and they aren't quite convinced yet that you're going to possibly hang in there and do this. But as you get more into it, more of your fears and your anxieties will start to diminish, as will the family, once they start seeing that you're committed to this. Once all of this self-introspection occurs and you've talked about it, you're going to groups, then the natural rest and sleep starts to occur. And you start recognizing, oh my gosh, I'm sleeping better and I'm thinking better. My thinking is more realistic, it's more rational, it's supported by the faith of my friends and family, and probably the people that are in my group. I feel like I have hope now, and that sober living seems to be something that I want, and not wanting to go back to the way it used to be, which then allows your self-esteem to return and start accepting yourself more. Start seeing that shame needs to be replaced with the truth, which the truth is, I have a disease. I have a disease that needs to be treated. That's the truth. And I need to begin life again and learn how to do it. Sometimes we just have to learn how to do it again, or for the first time, because we talked in another segment about arrested development. And with arrested development, if you've got a number of decades ahead of you, you've got to literally go back and learn adolescent years, how to maybe not drive a car, but how to develop interpersonal relationships with people, how to start becoming comfortable with intimate relationships and honest and safe, pure relationships. So then we start thinking about the rebirth of ideals and things and goals that I once had, and then spiritual values and such become even stronger, and you have a better understanding of where you want to go and what you're relying on for your strength. As this occurs, then your physical health starts improving, you feel better. And there's an acronym called Hungry, Angry, Lonely, and Tired, and it's HALT. And that's when you learn, okay, I need to listen to my body more. If I'm hungry, I need to feed it. If I'm angry, I need to take care of this and figure out what in the world caused this anger or this disappointment. If I'm lonely, I need to reach out and go talk to somebody. And if I'm tired, I need to get some rest. And those things you learn in group. Your interest in group therapy and sharing, and you don't feel as alone as you used to, starts increasing and getting better. And the contentment and sobriety starts feeling really good. And we quit fighting ourselves. And interpersonal relationships start improving. And we have a genuine enthusiasm for our self-esteem and for our future. The confidence in our family improves. The confidence of our employers do. People want to help you when they see that you're making this conscious choice to make things better. So again, we start trusting, and people start trusting us. Another thing that occurs with that is economic progress. We start doing better with our finances, and we start spending our money correctly, paying off bills, talking to creditors, maybe becoming free from financial burden. And then the more they continue to practice these principles of the program or the tools that you learn from others, 12-step programs are not the only programs. There could be Smart Recovery. There could be other behavioral tools that you use. But whatever it takes, and you follow this process, then you will get to a point where there's an enlightened way of life. You are not cured, and that is also a controversial issue as well. But if you believe that this is a disease, which not all people do, then you know that, just like the example of the sponge, that this will come back to us if we start engaging again. At this point, though, if you're following all the rules, the enlightened way of life opens up. We don't regret the past. We see our experiences, that we can help others. Our self-pity disappears. We lose interest in selfish things. The fear of people and economic security dissipates, and we start intuitively know how to handle our situations. And we start realizing that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. It's a wonderful place, and sometimes it's the first time in their life where they feel like they're free. It's not the end. There's always room for improvement. It is possible, and there is hope in this destructive disease we call addiction.